When I was small in Scotland, there were remnants of the old clan system. I mean, the clans kept getting demolished and disintegrating and moved around and integrated into society over a long period of time. Yet there were still stragglers that kept apart from the system. They called them tinkers. And if you're up north into the highland areas, you would often see these people with, we called them prams, for the go chairs for children. And they'd have all their belongings in these things, and they'd be pushing them along the streets, I'm talking about in the country, the roads. And they skirted the towns. Sometimes they'd go into the rubbish dumps and set up camp and scrounge for scrap, which they'd take to the scrap dealers. And somehow they'd survived separate from the system and alongside the system. And whenever they went, they were called tinkers, and they had derogatory terms for them. Yet to me, when I was really small, they looked tall and healthy, and they could survive in the climates of winter, in the heart of summer. And they'd be men and women and children. The authorities went out full blast, eventually, to get them into the housing schemes, re-educate them, get their children into the system, because they couldn't have that. In Ireland, they still had gypsies too, who traded primarily in horses in Southern Ireland, and they go around town to town. We had some of them too that would go door to door, and I can remember them coming around the doors, the housing, the schemes, the units all sort of joined together, rows of houses, and they'd always come to the back door during the day and sell handmade clothespins and things. Very quiet, never obnoxious. And yet I used to wonder why society had such a hatred for them. And it was because they were different, ultimately. And they wouldn't join the system. You'll find with people, they can turn on you if you don't join the hell that they're already in. And they hate difference. And no one would care when eventually the authorities were given teeth to go in and disband their camps and haul off children to children's aid and such. Yet to me, they represented maybe the last vestige of a freedom which I knew I'd never see. I also know that when people come into your country, which you think is your country, and they look different, like the Mexicans are doing in the US at the moment, and their customs are different because they're used to a third world survival situation. How everyone suddenly looks down and, oh my goodness, they're so different, I can't live alongside them. And then comes the moral justification of why you think that way, and people are put down for having chickens and things we should all really have, and stuff like that. In fact, things which your fairly recent ancestors had themselves. And they remind me very much like the tinkers. Countries don't get risen up because people are really hard working, or any harder working than anyone else. In the history books of even economics, they admit that countries are designed to come up and flourish and lead. Do so with the free availability, the cheap, the easy availability of credit, and the absence of bureaucracies and all kinds of local and national laws. That's why they came up. Not because of any speciality on our part, or because our God is better than their God, or anything less, or anything like that. It's completely different. Understood again, but not by those who come head on with a culture clash, which is an upsetting time for everyone. And yet everything that's happening is designed to do so, and planned and encouraged by those who own your culture and your nation. But we shouldn't turn on those, because they're the effect or side effect of the agenda. It's also interesting that if you fight something long enough, you hate it. In that which you hate, you become. You become until you lose that which you started to fight for in the first place. You become your enemy, and the enemy is you. You will see that in peoples who've been persecuted, who become the persecutors. And eventually all the moral justification sounds flat even to those who participate.